Have you ever had one of those moments where everything around you keeps moving? Cars passing, people laughing, the clock ticking, and yet inside you feel like the world just stopped? Maybe it was something someone said. Maybe it was something you lost. Or maybe it was one of those quiet mornings where you stared at the ceiling, wondering what the point of all this is. Not in a dramatic way, just that soft, hollow kind of wondering. I've been there too. We all carry these quiet storms, anxieties about what's to come, regrets about what we've done, and that constant tug-of-war between who we are and who we think we should be. But there's a different way to move through the world. Quieter way. Not in the sense of withdrawing, but in choosing carefully, consciously what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Let's sit with that for a moment. There was a man once, he was told he might die at sea. The ship groaned under the weight of a coming storm, and he sat on deck, hands folded, gazing out into the horizon. A fellow passenger, panicked, came up to him and shouted, "Aren't you afraid? The winds could take us under." He simply replied, "Do I control the wind?" That stillness, that clarity, it's not born of apathy. It's born of knowing the difference between what's within your reach and what never was. How much time do we spend wrestling with things we cannot change? The past, for one. The words we wish we hadn't said. The opportunities we let slip. We revisit them like old wounds, picking at the scab, expecting peace to come from pain. But peace doesn't work that way. There's a quiet strength in learning to let go. Not in some poetic, idealized sense, but in the very real, everyday practice of saying, "This is what I have. This is what I can do. The rest, I leave behind." It's not detachment. It's alignment. You see, most of us live two lives. The one we experience and the one we imagine. The second one is louder. It's filled with what-ifs, with expectations, with invisible audiences. We rehearse arguments that never happen. We chase dreams that aren't ours. We compare ourselves to people who aren't even thinking about us. That imagined life, it's exhausting, and so we forget to notice the simplest things. The way the light touches the wall at 4 p.m., or how deeply we breathe when we're not trying. We miss those small, golden moments because we're busy somewhere else, in a life that isn't real. Let's come back. Let's return to this breath, to this body, to this space where you are right now. Feel the difference? Someone once said that if you want to be unshakable, you must build your peace where no one else can touch it. Not in titles, not in possessions, not in validation, but in your own thoughts, in how you choose to interpret what happens to you. Let's be honest. Life won't spare you hardship. People will disappoint you. Plans will unravel. And some of your deepest hopes may never come to pass. But how you meet those moments, that is yours. There's a still point inside you, untouched by the chaos. And you don't need to find it, you need only stop covering it up. When you wake up tomorrow, something will demand your attention. A notification, problem, a memory. That's the world, always knocking. But before you answer, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this within my power? Or is this just the wind? If it's within your power, act with clarity. Do the thing. No drama, no delay. If it's not, release it. Gently. Don't carry it like armor. Every day gives you 1,000 chances to practice this. When someone cuts you off in traffic. When the email doesn't come. When the scale shows the same number. When you feel ignored or misunderstood. Those are your lessons. Not punishments. Opportunities. Each one whispers, choose your response. You might wonder, but what about ambition? What about love? Am I supposed to stop caring? Not at all. Love fiercely. Dream boldly. Just don't tie your worth to the outcome. You can plant the seed. You can water it. But the growth, that's nature's domain. You do your part. Then you let go. This is how you become grounded without being hardened. Compassionate without being consumed, ambitious without being attached. Imagine walking through your day, knowing that no matter what comes, good or bad, you have what you need within you to respond with grace. That's not fantasy. That's discipline. That's daily work. It's in the choice to pause before reacting, in the strength to forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace, in the courage to be misunderstood without scrambling to defend yourself, in the humility to fail and keep going anyway, and in the wisdom to know that none of this is forever. Let's talk about pain, not the kind that makes you flinch, but the quiet ache of being human, of loving people who change, of watching time slip through your fingers, of craving control in a world that won't give it. That ache, it's a teacher. It reminds you what matters. It strips away the noise. And if you let it, it will point you back to the only thing you ever had, this moment, this breath, this chance to show up fully and honestly, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. When the world feels heavy, remember this: you've survived your worst days, not by escaping them, but by meeting them, by staying. And that's the most powerful thing you can do. Stay. Stay with what is real. Stay with what you can control. Stay with the values that define you, not the opinions that distract you. Stay even when it's uncomfortable, because that's where transformation happens. Now, I won't promise you ease. This path is not about avoiding discomfort. It's about not being owned by it. You'll still feel. You'll still stumble. You're human. But with practice, you'll start to notice a shift. Less reacting, more choosing, less noise, more space. You'll begin to trust yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you've learned how to live with intention. Moment by moment, step by step. And one day you'll look back, not to regret, but to see how far you've come. You'll see a person who learned to carry the world differently, not lighter but wiser. So as we come to the end of this time together, I invite you to reflect. What are you holding onto that's not yours to carry? What would it feel like to let go? What would your day look like if you gave your energy only to what you can shape? Let these questions stay with you, not as problems to solve, but as quiet companions. This isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about showing up each day with calm hands, a clear mind, and a heart grounded in what matters most. And when the winds rise again, as they always do, you'll remember, you don't control the wind, but you do control the sail. There's something quietly radical about learning to want less. Not because life doesn't offer wonders, but because so much of our suffering comes from craving what's just out of reach. A better job, a more flattering mirror, another message, one more sign that we matter. But the moment you need something to feel whole, it owns you. When you want less, you see more. The present opens up. The ordinary becomes enough. The sun on your face, the food on your plate, the sound of your own breath in the quiet of morning. This isn't settling, it's arriving. Now consider this. Most people walk through life like they're owed something, an easier path, a gentler fate. They carry this invisible script in their minds. How people should treat them, how events should unfold, how life should go. But life doesn't read your script. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't ask permission. It simply moves. The sooner you stop expecting fairness, the freer you become. Because the idea of fairness is based on comparison, and comparison is poison. Keeps you looking sideways when what you need is right in front of you. Choose to respond instead of react. That's where strength lives. Not in control over others, but in control over yourself. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to not act, to sit with the urge, to feel the fire rise in your chest and still not speak, not lash out, not chase, not run. That pause, that sacred space between impulse and response is your power. And every time you choose it, even for a moment, you're rewriting your nature. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about understanding its source. What need lies beneath the anger? What fear hides behind the frustration? When you meet those feelings with honesty, not judgment, they soften. They pass. Like waves that break and return to the sea. You are not your emotions. You are the ocean holding them. Discipline often gets a bad reputation. Sounds rigid, harsh, joyless. But real discipline is an act of love. It's saying, I respect myself too much to indulge every fleeting craving. It's choosing your future over your mood. your values over your urges. You brush your teeth every day, not because it's exciting, but because it matters. So too with your mind. Discipline is waking up early, not to impress anyone, but to meet yourself. Is saying no, not to punish yourself, but to honor what's truly important. It's the quiet decision to do the hard thing when no one's watching, because you promised yourself you would. In that promise, there is freedom. There will be times when you feel alone, not because no one loves you, but because you're growing, because you're seeing things more clearly, and that clarity can feel like distance. Let it. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's communion with yourself. And in that space, the noise fades. You remember who you are, beneath the roles, beneath the opinions, beneath the need to be anything other than present. The world will offer distractions. Trends, drama, applause. They are loud but shallow. Depth is quiet. Stay with the quiet. You may wonder at times why people act the way they do, why they betray, blame, deceive, or harm. But the Stoic sees clearly. People act according to what they believe will bring them peace or power or relief, even if they're wrong, even if they're lost. You don't need to excuse them, but you also don't need to carry their mistakes. What others do is their burden. What you do in response is your freedom. There's nothing wrong with anger. It's natural, but when it controls you, it distorts your sight. You act from a place of heat, not wisdom, and then you're left picking up the pieces. The Stoic breathes through the heat, waits, watches, not because they're weak, but because they're choosing peace over dominance, stillness over noise. You can speak your truth without shouting. You can set boundaries without cruelty. You can walk away without resentment. That's strength. Think of death often, not to dwell in fear, but to remember that time is not guaranteed, that the people you love are temporary, that your story has an end, and you don't get to know when. This thought isn't morbid. It's liberating. It sharpens the present, makes you bolder in your choices, more grateful in your routines. When you truly feel the weight of mortality, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop living for someday and start living for now. There is honor in simplicity, waking up with the sunrise, eating slowly, saying thank you, letting others speak without needing to be right. This isn't a lesser life. It's a clearer one where peace is not found in possessions, but in presence. The Stoic life is a quiet revolution in a world obsessed with more. It's choosing what is enough. It's choosing you. You don't need a title to be important. You don't need applause to have value. You don't need to win every argument, prove every point, or be liked by every person. True confidence is being rooted in your values, not in how others see you. They will misunderstand you. They will doubt you. They may leave. Let them. Hold your ground, not with anger, but with calm, because who you are does not depend on them. Hardship reveals character. When everything is easy, anyone can smile. But when your plans fall apart, when the person leaves, when the dream fades, who are you then? That's the test. And in those moments, you're given a gift, the chance to rebuild yourself, not on shifting sands, but on stone. Every challenge is a mirror. It shows you where you're strong and where you still have work to do. Don't avoid the test. Step into it. There's a story about a man who lost everything. His wealth, his position, even his health. And yet, he stood tall, looked to the sky and said, "You may take what you will, but you cannot take me." That's what it means to be unbreakable. Not to avoid pain, but to rise within it. To know that nothing external can truly ruin you, unless you let it. This is the essence of the inner citadel. A fortress built not of walls, but of wisdom. And you are the builder. Let others chase status. Let others seek approval. You seek truth. Not the kind shouted from stages or printed in books, but the kind you find in silence, in stillness, in the breath between thoughts. Truth is not a destination. It's a way of walking, a way of being that honors integrity over image, essence over ego. Walk that path even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, and you will not regret it, because the reward is peace. Every morning, life gives you a question. Who will you be today? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. Will you be led by fear or guided by reason? Will you react or will you reflect? Will you follow the crowd or walk your own quiet path? You don't need to answer aloud. Your actions will speak for you, and in time, your life will become the answer. You are here now, and you have all that you need: the breath, the moment, the power to choose. No one can take that from you. Not fate, not failure, not even fear. So walk slowly, speak wisely, love deeply, let go often. And when the storms come again, as they always do, you'll remember, not every wind must be fought. Some must be faced with stillness, with courage, with the quiet strength of a soul that has learned how to live. There's a strange comfort in realizing you are not owed understanding. People will misinterpret you. They'll see your stillness as coldness, your calm as indifference, your distance as arrogance. Let them. What matters is not what they see, but what you are. You do not need to explain your peace to those who only understand noise. You do not need to prove your path to those walking a different one. When you learn to stop performing for the world, you begin to live for yourself. That's where real freedom begins. Time is the most expensive thing you own, and yet it's the thing most people give away without thought. Hours traded for worry, days lost to scrolling, weeks sacrificed to resentment. But time is not refundable. Every day is a currency. You get to choose what to spend it on. Choose wisely. Do not waste today in the shadow of yesterday. Do not mortgage your peace to please others. Do not spend your time chasing what won't matter when your eyes close for the last time. Invest it instead in what nourishes. Quiet moments, honest effort, meaningful connection, inner work. Spend your time like your life depends on it, because it does. You will be tested by delay, by watching others succeed before you, by waiting while the world keeps moving, by planting seeds that seem to take forever to grow. Be patient. The Stoic does not rush what needs time. You do not dig up the roots to see if the tree is growing. You water it. You trust the seasons. You endure the winter, and you let the fruit come in its time. There is no glory in haste, only in persistence. Every slow step taken with care is better than running in circles. Let your words be few and your meaning deep. Speak only when it improves the silence. In every conversation, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is this kind? Is this true? Gossip is easy. Criticism is cheap. Outrage is addictive. But wisdom listens. It asks more than it answers. It seeks understanding over victory. There's more strength in saying nothing than in saying something to be heard. Choose your words the way a craftsman chooses his tools, with intention. Do not attach your peace to outcomes. You may work hard and still not be recognized. You may love deeply and still not be loved in return. You may do everything right and still not win. But the Stoic doesn't live for reward. He lives for right action. He does what must be done because it is just, not because it is guaranteed. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you care without being owned by the result. You become the kind of person whose peace isn't shaken by fortune or failure. There is dignity in doing what's right, even when no one sees, especially then, because the quiet victories, the ones no one claps for, are the foundation of character. The moment you return the extra change, the decision to speak truth when a lie would be easier, the way you carry yourself when the room is filled with noise and ego, these are the things that shape the soul. The world may never know what you choose in silence, but you will, and that knowing is sacred. Gratitude is not passive. It's an active seeing. It's choosing to look at your life and notice what's still whole, still beautiful, still yours. Even on the hardest days, there is something to hold on to. The breath in your lungs, the light in the sky, the chance to begin again. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain. It means refusing to let it blind you. It's the discipline of turning toward what is, rather than chasing what could have been. And in that turn, something shifts. You find abundance not in having more, but in needing less. Let go of control. Control is an illusion. You can shape your actions but not their results. You can prepare your words but not how they're received. You can care deeply but not dictate what others do with that care. Suffering grows in the gap between what we want to control and what we actually can. The Stoic narrows that gap. He focuses on the inner world, on perception, on thought, on choice. The outer world will move as it will. You move within it not as a victim but as a witness. You release what is not yours to carry. There is no shame in fear. Fear is part of being human. But what matters is what you do with it. Do you let it guide you, or do you walk through it with steady steps? Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. The Stoic walks into the fire not because he feels invincible, but because he knows that peace lies on the other side of discomfort. Face what you fear. Speak what you avoid. Dare to fail, to look foolish, to be misunderstood. These are not weaknesses. They are the work. Be wary of anger dressed as justice. Sometimes we convince ourselves we are fighting for what's right, when really we're just feeding the fire. True justice is not loud. It's firm, clear, patient. It does not seek revenge. It seeks order. It does not seek punishment. It seeks restoration. The Stoic knows that the mind clouded by rage sees only part of the truth. Step back, cool the blood, then act. Not from vengeance, but from virtue. That is justice. Let go of the fantasy that life should be easy, that you are meant to glide through days untouched by hardship. Life is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be meaningful. And meaning often arises through struggle, through loss, through failure. The Stoic sees pain not as punishment, but as material. Raw stone from which to carve wisdom. Let your suffering shape you, not into bitterness, but into depth. Not into despair, but into clarity. Every blow life gives is also a chisel. Let it sculpt you into something unshakable. Success is not in reaching the summit. It's in the way you walk the mountain. Did you climb with integrity? Did you help others on the path? Did you stay true when the winds pushed hard? You may never reach the top the way you imagined. But if you walked well, you've already succeeded. The Stoic does not measure life by trophies. He measures it by the soul's quiet unfolding. And in that unfolding, he finds peace. This moment is enough, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Let it be what it is. Let yourself be what you are. And in that stillness, listen. What you're seeking is not far away. It's already within you, waiting, watching, ready. There will be moments when you feel the pull to escape, through distraction, through pleasure, through noise. But escape is not freedom. It's delay. You can silence the discomfort for a while, through consumption, through stimulation, through avoidance. But it waits. It waits for the quiet. It waits when you close your eyes, when you put the phone down, when the world grows still. The Stoic does not run from what aches inside. He sits with it. He breathes with it. He lets it speak. Because only what is faced can be transformed. What is avoided persists. Your worth is not up for debate. It does not shift with praise. It does not shrink with criticism. The Stoic does not build his identity on applause, nor does he tear it down at the sound of blame. What you are is not dependent on external opinion. What you are is revealed in solitude, in how you act when no one's watching, in how you carry yourself when the world forgets your name. Do not seek yourself in reflections from others. Seek yourself in your own gaze, in the mirror of quiet integrity. Hardships will visit you, and when they do, you'll be tempted to ask, "Why me?" But the Stoic asks instead, "How will I meet this?" Not with victimhood, not with despair, but with presence. Life is not cruel. It is indifferent. It does not plot against you. It simply unfolds. Your power lies not in rewriting the script, but in how you perform it. You can cry, you can fall, you can scream in silence. But then stand, rise, and respond. That's where strength is born. Do not wait for ideal conditions to live rightly. The perfect moment may never come. You may never have full clarity, full confidence, full comfort. And yet you are alive now, breathing now, capable now. The Stoic acts in the fog. He moves even when the way is unclear. He does not stall his life waiting for the stars to align. He becomes the alignment through steady thought, through right effort, through inner resolve. Make today enough. Make this breath the beginning. Jealousy is a thief. It robs you of your attention. It turns your eyes toward someone else's path while yours goes untended. Comparison is the enemy of contentment. There will always be those ahead of you, richer, stronger, more admired. Let them go. Their journey is not yours. What matters is not how far others have gone, but how far you've come from who you used to be. The Stoic tends his own garden. He cultivates, he waters, he grows without looking over the fence, because peace is found in presence, not competition. Let silence become your teacher. Not every question demands an answer. Not every insult deserves a response. The Stoic does not argue to win. He listens to understand. When you resist the urge to react, you begin to see. You see what lies beneath the surface of words. You see the pain in anger, the fear behind control, the sadness inside judgment. And when you see clearly, you respond wisely, or you do not respond at all. That is not weakness. That is strength under control. Not all storms come to destroy you. Some come to clear the way, to remove what is weak, to reveal what is hidden, to test what you claim to believe. You say you're calm. Let the storm prove it. You say you're patient. Let the delay confirm it. You say you're kind. Let the irritation reveal it. Every disruption is a mirror. It reflects back the truth of your inner world. The Stoic welcomes the storm because he knows the wind cannot shake what is rooted. There will be losses. People you love will leave. Doors you cherished will close. Dreams will dissolve. And grief will try to take up residence in your chest. Let it flow through you like a wave. But do not drown. Do not cling to what has passed. The Stoic honors what was without becoming a prisoner of it. He mourns, but he does not resist. He accepts, but he does not collapse. Because in the impermanence of all things, he finds his anchor in presence, in values, in now. Comfort is seductive, promises safety, but often it delivers stagnation. Growth requires friction. The Stoic does not avoid discomfort, he seeks it. He chooses the harder path when it's the right one. He enters the cold water. He speaks the difficult truth. He confronts the thing he fears, because he knows comfort may feel good now, but only challenge refines character, and character is the only true wealth. Forgive not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Resentment is a slow poison. It does not hurt the one who wronged you, it corrodes you. The Stoic does not carry the weight of bitterness. He lets it fall. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's remembering without rage. It's releasing the hope that the past could be different. It's choosing to heal instead of reopen the wound again and again. It is the quiet rebellion of the free. There is beauty in restraint. You don't need to indulge every desire. You don't need to follow every urge. To want is human. To rule over want is divine. The Stoic practices temperance, not because he rejects pleasure, but because he refuses to be ruled by it. He eats, but not to escape. He rests, but not in laziness. He enjoys, but he does not depend. Freedom begins the moment you no longer obey every craving. Self-control is not repression, it is liberation. Fame is fleeting. Praise is fickle. Fortune is unstable. But virtue is immortal. It lives beyond the grave. It echoes in the lives you've touched, in the wrongs you've made right, in the choices you've made when no one was looking. The Stoic does not chase legacy. He lives it quietly, consistently, authentically, not for history books, not for headlines, but because it's right, and that is enough. You do not need more to begin. You do not need to fix everything before you live fully. You do not need to wait for healing to act with purpose. All you need is what you already carry: the breath in your lungs, the steadiness in your heart, and the quiet fire in your soul that knows you are ready. Begin now, and let the rest unfold. You were not promised ease. You were not guaranteed a life free of trial, but you were given something greater: the capacity to endure, to adapt, to choose how you meet what comes. It is not the event that defines you, it is your response. You may not command the wind, but you can adjust your sail. Every moment is a choice, and within that choice lies your freedom. Time is not a river that carries you helplessly forward. Time is clay. You shape it with attention. You mold it with presence. You waste it when you forget what matters. The Stoic treats each hour as sacred. He does not squander his day in regret over the past or anxiety about the future. He knows that this hour, this breath, is life. He moves with intention, not urgency. He does not chase time, he lives it. When you are insulted, you are offered a gift. A moment to see your ego flare. A chance to recognize your pride, your need for approval, your hunger to be seen a certain way. The Stoic does not take the insult personally. He hears the words, but he listens deeper. And often what he hears is pain. The other's pain, leaking through their voice. He need not defend himself, truth defends itself. He need not retaliate, dignity is its own answer. The mind, left untrained, will wander. It will loop in worry. It will cling to imagined fears. But you are not your thoughts. You are the observer. You are the still point. The Stoic brings his mind home, not with force, but with practice. He returns to what he controls. He releases the future, for it has not arrived. He releases the past, for it cannot be changed. He lives in the clarity of now. The only place action exists. The only place peace is possible. Power is not loud. It is not the voice that shouts the longest. It is not the fist that strikes first. True power is quiet. It's the strength to walk away from chaos without the need to dominate it. It's the courage to stay composed when others lose control. It's the presence to act from principle, not impulse. The Stoic does not perform his power. He lives it, in calm words, in measured action, in unwavering alignment. Nature does not hurry, it unfolds. The seed does not become a tree overnight. The moon waxes and wanes, indifferent to our pace. The Stoic learns from nature. He stops measuring himself against the speed of others. He does not rush transformation. He does not panic in delay. Growth happens slowly, often invisibly. But every small choice, each honest effort, is a thread in the tapestry. The Stoic walks steadily and trusts the path. Pleasure is not the enemy, but addiction to pleasure is slavery. The Stoic does not reject joy, he redefines it. He finds joy in virtue, not in vice. In the quiet after a task done well. In the clarity of a mind undisturbed by guilt. In the strength of a body and spirit aligned. He does not chase sensation. He cultivates meaning. And from that meaning, a deeper, lasting joy emerges. When you are tired, rest. But do not confuse rest with surrender. Even rest can be deliberate. Even stillness can be strong. The Stoic does not burn himself out to prove his worth. He respects rhythm. He listens to his body. But he does not use fatigue as an excuse to abandon his path. He pauses to breathe, to reflect, to realign. Then he returns with presence, with clarity, with resolve. You will be misunderstood. That is not a failure. That is a fact of life. Not all will see you clearly. Not all will value your truth. The Stoic does not dilute himself to fit another's lens. He remains authentic, even if it invites judgment. He chooses honesty over popularity. He accepts the loneliness that sometimes comes with integrity, because to lose yourself for acceptance is the greatest loss of all. Control is an illusion except in one place, your inner world. The Stoic releases his grip on what he cannot hold. He does not try to bend the world to his will. He bends himself. He adapts. He surrenders not in weakness, but in wisdom. He does not force life to match his expectations. He aligns his expectations to reality, and in that alignment he finds peace. Death is not the enemy. It is the natural end of a natural cycle. It is not a punishment. It is a teacher. The Stoic walks beside death, not in fear, but in awareness. He lets it sharpen his days. He lets it remind him, nothing is promised. No one is owed tomorrow. So today he speaks kindly. Today he lives truthfully. Today he forgives, he creates, he chooses with care. Because today is all he truly has. Wealth is not measured in coins, not in titles, not in square footage or digital likes. Wealth is measured in autonomy, in knowing that your joy is not rented from things, in waking up with nothing to prove, in choosing who you are moment by moment without external permission. The Stoic is rich in silence, rich in patience, rich in values that cannot be stolen. He owns himself, and that is the greatest wealth of all. Justice is not always served by systems, but it must always live in you. You may not fix the world, but you can refuse to become what you despise. You can be the honesty you wish to see. You can speak the truth without venom. You can hold boundaries without hate. The Stoic lives justice, not for reward, not for praise, but because to do otherwise would betray himself. Do not be afraid to begin again. You are not bound by yesterday. Each sunrise is permission. The Stoic does not chain himself to his past self. He evolves. He corrects. He releases the shame that serves no purpose. And he holds onto the lesson. Growth is not linear, but every step, forward or back, contains insight. Nothing is wasted. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to practice, to test your strength, to refine your clarity, to apply your values not in comfort, but in complexity. This moment is not a mistake. It is your dojo, your proving ground, your invitation. The Stoic accepts. He steps in. He does the work, quietly, gently, deeply, and in that work he is free. The world will tempt you to scatter your attention, to multitask your way into exhaustion, to confuse motion with meaning. But there is a difference between doing much and doing what matters. The Stoic is not afraid to be deliberate. He trims the unnecessary. He says no without guilt. He does not chase every impulse that sparkles like gold. He knows that a life divided cannot go deep. So he simplifies, he focuses, and in doing so, he sharpens the blade of his presence. There will be moments when emotion rises like a storm, when the heart beats faster, the hands tremble, the voice shakes, anger, sadness, fear. None of these are wrong, but they are not the guide. The Stoic does not suppress emotion. He listens to it. He observes it without drowning in it. And then, with clarity, he chooses his response. Not because he is cold, but because he is centered. He refuses to be ruled by what flickers and fades. He moves from what endures. Fame is a shadow, a reflection in water. Chase it and you may reach nothing. Hold it and you may lose yourself. The Stoic does not trade authenticity for applause. He does not bend his values to fit a trend. He is not swayed by opinion, nor broken by silence. He does not live to be known. He lives to be aligned. And if the world never applauds, but he remains in integrity, he has won. There is no shame in beginning. There is no weakness in learning. The Stoic does not pretend to know what he does not. He does not hide behind pride. He asks. He studies. He starts from the ground without complaint. Because he understands, the wise were once beginners too. True strength is not in pretending to be finished. It is in the courage to start, again and again until the roots grow deep. You cannot force others to grow. You cannot compel someone to see what they are not yet ready to see. The Stoic loves without attachment. He helps without rescuing. He offers truth without expecting agreement. He respects the pace of others, even when it hurts, because control ends at his own skin. And love, to be real, must leave room for freedom, even the freedom to walk a longer path. Pain is part of life, but suffering is often resistance, a refusal to accept what is. The Stoic does not glamorize pain, but he does not flee from it either. He examines it. He listens. He asks, "What is this here to teach me?" And then he grows through it, not around it. He does not waste time wishing things were easier. He becomes someone stronger, not hard, not bitter, stronger in clarity, stronger in courage. When you make a mistake, and you will, the temptation is to bury it, to justify it, to blame someone else. But the Stoic looks straight at the error. He does not run. He does not self-flagellate. He learns, quickly, quietly. He corrects the course and moves on. Shame is not his home. Growth is. Each mistake becomes a step. Each misstep, a compass. He welcomes the discomfort of honesty, because that discomfort is how we rise. Envy is a thief, takes joy from your hands and plants it in someone else's garden. It tells you, you are not enough until you are them. But the Stoic sees through this lie. He honors his own path. He celebrates the success of others without comparing. Because someone else's light does not dim his own. There is room for many stars in the sky, and none are required to copy each other. There will be noise, opinions, criticisms, people projecting their fears, their wounds, their unresolved voices onto you. The Stoic listens but filters. He asks, is this useful? Is this true? If not, he lets it pass through him like wind through a tree. Not every voice deserves a seat at your table. Not every comment deserves a response. Sometimes the greatest wisdom is silence. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not too broken to begin again. The Stoic does not carry the weight of timelines imposed by the world. He walks his own step by step. He does not measure progress in speed, but in alignment. He asks only, am I living today in accordance with who I aspire to be? That is the compass, and that is enough. Sometimes peace is not soft. Sometimes it is fierce. To stay calm when provoked, to hold your values in chaos, to choose restraint when anger calls. These are acts of quiet defiance. The Stoic does not confuse peace with weakness. He knows it takes strength to remain rooted while storms pass. It takes strength to forgive, to release what is not yours to hold, to walk away when everything in you screams to fight. That is not surrender. That is mastery. You will lose things, people, places, versions of yourself. But loss is not the end. It is transition. The Stoic mourns what passes, but he does not cling. He holds what he loves with gratitude, not ownership. And when it must go, he releases with grace. Not because it doesn't matter, but because he knows nothing real can be taken from the soul. Love remains. Character remains. What was lived fully is never truly lost. Not all days will be clear. Not all choices will feel easy. But the Stoic rises anyway. He shows up not because he feels like it, but because it's who he is. He does not wait for motivation. He moves with discipline, because motivation is fickle. Discipline is stable. And over time, that stability becomes freedom. Each day is a new scroll, blank and waiting. Each thought, a brushstroke. Each action, a sentence. What will you write? What will you paint? Not in theory, but in practice. Not in promise, but in presence. The Stoic does not aim for perfection. He aims for alignment. And in that quiet pursuit, over years and seasons, he becomes not just a reader of wisdom, but a living embodiment of it. When you find yourself waiting for things to be perfect before you act, pause. The Stoic does not wait for perfect conditions. He knows that perfection is an illusion dressed in delay. If the seed waited for the perfect season, it would never grow. If the sailor waited for perfect winds, he would never leave the shore. So the Stoic moves, not recklessly, but with intention. He acts in the now because the now is all that truly exists. The moment is his canvas, and he paints even if the brush is trembling. Let others be loud. Let them race and shout and demand. The Stoic knows that not everything requires a reaction. Sometimes your power is in stillness, in watching, in choosing not to engage, because attention is currency, and not every cause is worth your coin. He chooses where he places his focus, like a sculptor selecting the stone. Because whatever you give your attention to, you feed, and he feeds only what he wishes to grow. Regret is a shadow that tries to rewrite the past. But the Stoic does not bargain with yesterday. He acknowledges it, learns from it, and then releases it like smoke into the sky. The past is a lesson, not a sentence. He refuses to chain his present to what can no longer be changed. Instead, he sharpens his awareness here and now, because the only place he can act, the only place he is alive, is this very moment. When the future presses on your chest like a weight, remember this: anticipation is not control. Worry is not preparation. The Stoic prepares through reason, not through panic. He does not try to predict every outcome, nor fix every unknown. He builds his character so that whatever comes, he meets it ready, not with dread, but with poise. Because he knows that the future cannot be managed, only met, and it is best met with a steady mind. Some days will feel heavy, not because something is wrong, but because you are growing. And growth is a quiet, invisible work. The Stoic honors this. He does not demand constant progress. He does not mistake stillness for failure. He lets himself be human without indulgence. He knows rain nourishes the soil even when the sun does not shine, and roots often grow deepest in silence. The desire to be right can poison the well of wisdom. The Stoic does not cling to his own opinion as if it were sacred. He holds beliefs loosely enough to revise them, firm enough to live by them, soft enough to question them. He welcomes correction without ego, because truth is not his possession, it's his pursuit. And pride has no place in a mind that seeks to grow. Your environment whispers to you constantly. The voices you hear, the stories you consume, the spaces you occupy, all of them shape you. The Stoic curates his surroundings as he would tend a garden. He removes weeds. He seeks nourishment. He chooses what enters his mind as carefully as what enters his body. Because his peace is not accidental. It is cultivated, day by day, with quiet intention. Comfort can seduce the soul into sleep. Ease is not always your ally. The Stoic understands that resistance strengthens. He does not seek hardship, but he does not avoid it either. He sees discomfort as a teacher, and when life challenges him, he leans into the fire, not to suffer, but to forge. Because the sword is not shaped in softness. It is shaped in heat and pressure and repetition. So he welcomes difficulty, not with joy, but with respect. There is power in presence, in looking someone in the eyes and truly listening, in setting down the phone, in walking slowly, in breathing deeply. The Stoic does not let life rush past him. He lives deeply, not just quickly. He finds wealth not in quantity, but in quality of thought, of action, of connection. Because a life skimmed is a life missed, but a life fully felt, even in the smallest details, is a life well lived. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is not forgetting. It is strength unclenched. The Stoic forgives not because others deserve it, but because he deserves peace. He does not allow old wounds to dictate his present. He understands that to carry anger is to drink poison and expect another to fall. So he releases, not because it was okay, but because he will not live in chains. Freedom begins in the heart. Time is not money. It is life. It is the most valuable thing you have. And the Stoic guards it fiercely. He is not available to every demand. He does not apologize for saying no, because every yes is a trade. And he will not trade the finite for the trivial. He measures his hours not by activity, but by alignment. And he spends them with care, like a craftsman using rare wood. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. The Stoic watches the stream of his mind like a monk watches the flame. He notices without judgment. He corrects without self-punishment. He understands. The mind will wander. The key is not to control every thought, but to choose which ones to follow. And in that choosing, he becomes free. Some people will misunderstand you. They will mock your quiet, misread your stillness, challenge your calm. Let them. The Stoic does not live for image. He lives for depth. He knows that truth often walks alone before it is recognized. He does not dilute his principles to be liked, because peace within is worth more than approval without. In every difficulty, there is a choice: to react, or to respond. The Stoic pauses. He lets the wave pass. He breathes, and then he responds not from fear but from clarity. That space between stimulus and action is sacred. It is where character is revealed, and it is in that space that he shapes his life. Joy is not forbidden. It is not contrary to wisdom, but it is rooted not in excess, but in appreciation. The Stoic finds joy in the ordinary, a warm sun, a clean table, a kind word. He does not chase ecstasy, he embraces contentment, and in that, he discovers a joy deeper than pleasure, a joy that cannot be taken by circumstance, because it is born from within. There are no small acts. Every choice plants a seed. Every word leaves a trace. The Stoic knows, how you do anything is how you do everything. So he brings care into the little moments. He picks up the trash no one sees. He keeps promises made in silence. Because character is not built in grand gestures. It is forged in the quiet, invisible spaces of a life well lived. The Stoic knows that life is not owed to him. He expects nothing, but is grateful for everything. Entitlement is foreign to his mind. When good things come, he receives them with humility, not possession. When they leave, he lets them go without bitterness. Because he was never their owner, only their guest. Gratitude is not a feeling he waits for. It is a posture he practices. Each breath is a gift, each moment a flicker of fortune. And so he does not waste his time asking, "Why me?" but lives instead in silent awe that he is here at all. We often speak to ourselves more cruelly than we would ever dare speak to a friend. The Stoic notices this. He catches the voice that condemns, the voice that belittles, and he does not obey it. He replaces it with truth, not flattery, with discipline, not self-hatred. He knows that strength is not born from shame. It's born from alignment of words and actions, of goals and values. He holds himself accountable, but not abusively. He corrects, but does not crush, because growth requires encouragement as much as effort. Reputation is a shadow, not the substance. The Stoic does not spend his life chasing admiration, because to be admired for what you are not is to live a lie. He would rather be misunderstood for his principles than praised for a persona. He does not contort himself to fit the opinions of the crowd. The applause of the unwise is not a reward, it is a warning. And so he builds his identity not in the echo of others, but in the silence of inner truth. Death is not a subject he avoids. He contemplates it not morbidly but clearly, because to remember death is to awaken life. To realize that all things end is to treasure them more. He does not fear death. He prepares for it. He sharpens his soul, knowing that legacy is not wealth or fame, but virtue left behind. He wants his days to mean something not to the world but to his own conscience. So he lives with death beside him not as a threat, but as a compass. It reminds him what matters, what lasts, what to let go. There will be people who wrong you, not once, not twice, but enough to make you question the goodness of others. The Stoic sees this as inevitable. He does not grow cynical. He grows wise. He knows that every human carries wounds, fears, and blindness. And while he does not excuse harm, he does not carry hatred. Because hatred burns the vessel that holds it. He sets boundaries not as revenge but as clarity. He forgives not for their sake, but for his own peace. He lets go not to forget but to be free. The Stoic does not envy. He may see wealth, power, beauty in others, but he does not covet. Because he knows, to envy is to abandon your own path. It is to water another man's garden while your own withers. Instead, he focuses on what is his to cultivate, his mind, his habits, his choices. He admires excellence, not with resentment, but with inspiration. He is too busy becoming to be bitter. Fear is a voice, one that often lies. The Stoic hears it, but does not believe it. He examines it, asks it questions, and if the fear is rational, he prepares. If not, he releases it, because fear unchallenged becomes a master, but fear inspected becomes a guide. He does not seek to be fearless, but courageous. Fearless men often act recklessly. Courageous men act with their eyes open. Happiness is not found in things, but in clarity. Clarity about what you value. Clarity about what you can control. Clarity about who you are when the world stops watching. The Stoic removes the noise, not to become empty, but to hear what truly matters. He asks himself, what is enough? And when he answers honestly, he finds he needs far less than he once believed. That simplicity is not lack but space. Space to breathe, to think, to be. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will fall short of your own standards. The Stoic expects this. He does not treat failure as identity, but as feedback. He does not dramatize his missteps. He corrects course. He reflects, and then he moves on. Lingering in guilt is a luxury he cannot afford, because every moment wasted in self-pity is stolen from growth. The world will tempt you to multitask every moment, to scroll, to check, to bounce from one thing to the next. But the Stoic resists fragmentation. He does one thing at a time, and he does it well, because presence is not passive, it is power. He does not see focus as limitation, but as liberation. To give something your full attention is to honor it. And he honors his time by giving it wholly, not in fragments. He does not argue endlessly. He knows when a conversation has turned from discovery into ego. He does not need to win debates. He needs to live wisely, and so he picks silence over sparring, stillness over superiority, because the truth is not always loud, and peace is a more valuable prize than being right. Change will come, uninvited, unannounced. The Stoic adapts, not because he lacks values, but because he is not brittle. He is like water, flowing around obstacles, carving his path over time. He adjusts not to please, but to persist. His core remains steady. His methods evolve, because he understands stubbornness is not strength. It is fear wearing the mask of principle. He honors the body not with vanity, but with stewardship. He feeds it with care, moves it with purpose, rests it without shame, because the body is not a billboard, it is a vessel, and how he treats it reflects how he treats life itself, with respect, with restraint, with reverence. Ambition is not denied, but it is questioned. Why do you want what you want? Who does it serve? At what cost? The Stoic dreams, but he dreams wisely. He does not chase goals to fill a void. He builds goals from inner alignment, and if they come, he celebrates. If they don't, he remains unmoved, because ambition untethered becomes addiction, but ambition rooted in wisdom becomes direction. The seasons turn, friends leave, fortunes shift. The Stoic is not surprised. He does not curse impermanence. He bows to it, because nothing in this world was made to last forever. Not even joy, not even pain. And so he holds lightly, loves deeply, releases gracefully. He participates in life without clinging to it. And that, paradoxically, is what gives him peace. You don't need everything to make sense. You don't need the full picture to take the next step. The Stoic walks by reason, not by guarantees. He accepts uncertainty, not with apathy, but with resolve. He does what he can with what he has where he is, and leaves the rest to the unfolding of time. Because life is not a problem to be solved. It's a path to be walked. And each step, taken in virtue, is its own reward. The Stoic does not confuse urgency with importance. He sees the frantic pace of the world and refuses to match it. Because rushing is not progress, it is panic disguised as purpose. He chooses to slow down, to act deliberately, to be decisive without being hurried. He knows that what matters most is rarely urgent, and what's urgent is rarely what truly matters. So he aligns his actions not with noise, but with values, not with pressure, but with wisdom. He understands the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is inevitable, a scraped knee, a loss, a betrayal, but suffering, that's the story we tell ourselves about the pain, the interpretation, the resistance, the judgment. The Stoic feels pain fully, but he does not extend it with fiction. He does not say, "This should not have happened." He says, It has. Now, what is my role in responding to it? That shift alone dissolves so much unnecessary torment. He does not romanticize the past. Memories may visit, but he does not live in them. He does not wear nostalgia as an escape from the present, because to glorify the past is to diminish the gift of now. And the Stoic knows, now is the only time that can be touched. So he lives in it, works in it, loves in it, accepting the past with serenity, facing the future with readiness, and holding fast to this moment, the only one truly his. There will always be opinions, praise and criticism, judgment and misunderstanding. The Stoic learns not to anchor his peace in these changing winds. He examines criticism carefully, takes what is useful, discards what is not. And praise? He lets it pass through him like air, because to rely on applause is to hand your happiness to strangers. So he keeps his compass internal. He asks, not do they approve, but was that right? That question, quiet, honest, steady, is the one he follows. He does not demand fairness from the universe. He gives it to others. Life may not always be just, but he can be. He treats others with integrity even when they do not return it. Because how he behaves is not determined by circumstance, but by character. He does the right thing even when it costs, even when no one sees, even when it would be easier not to. Because virtue is not a performance, it is a foundation. It is who he is when comfort, convenience, and recognition fall away. He sees power for what it is, a test. Power exposes more than it grants. It reveals the soul beneath the mask. So the Stoic does not crave power for its own sake. If it comes, he carries it humbly. If it does not, he remains whole. Because true power is not command over others, it is command over oneself. To be unshaken by insult, to choose discipline over indulgence, to remain generous while surrounded by greed. That is power the world cannot corrupt. The Stoic is not easily offended, because he knows to be offended is often to take things personally that are not personal at all. He pauses before reacting, examines the insult, asks, is it true? If yes, he learns. If not, he lets it go. He doesn't demand that others walk on eggshells. He strengthens his own skin, because life is too short to be wounded by every careless word. And dignity is not given by others, it is guarded from within. He reflects each day, not with obsession, not with guilt, but with clarity. He asks, did I act with wisdom, with courage, with justice, with temperance? Not to punish himself, but to stay awake, to realign, because the examined day builds the examined life. And the examined life is not an easy one, but it is the only one worth living. The Stoic sees adversity as a forge. Not every hardship is a blessing in disguise, but every hardship reveals something. A weakness to strengthen, a value to clarify, a lesson to embody. He does not chase pain, but when it comes, he looks it in the eye, and he asks, what can I practice here? Patience? Detachment? Resilience? Compassion? There is always something to be refined. Adversity is not the enemy. It is the mentor that never flatters. He seeks solitude, not isolation, but space, because noise clouds judgment, and only in stillness can he hear what matters. He takes time to be alone with his thoughts, to write, to reflect, to walk in silence, because in a world of constant input, the Stoic knows that clarity comes from emptiness. And emptiness is not a void, it is the ground from which wisdom rises. He does not bargain with life. If I do this, then I deserve that. The Stoic knows the world does not work on transaction, it moves by nature, and nature is not personal. So he acts not for reward, but because it is right. If results come, he is grateful. If they do not, he is still grounded, because his peace is in the doing, not in the outcome. He observes the desires that pull at him. Some are natural: food, warmth, connection. Others are endless: status, admiration, excess. He does not demonize desire, but he questions it. Where did it come from? What does it cost? Will it free me or bind me? and slowly he shapes a simpler life, not through denial but through discernment, because the fewer cravings he obeys, the more freedom he gains. The Stoic prepares not out of fear, but responsibility. He does not assume things will go wrong, but he's ready if they do. He thinks ahead, saves for hardship, trains his mind before the trial comes. He fortifies himself while the skies are clear, because when the storm arrives, and it always does, he wants to be calm, not caught off guard. This is not pessimism. This is care, and care is strength wisely applied. The Stoic is kind, not because the world is kind to him, but because cruelty adds nothing to his life. He chooses gentleness, a steady word instead of a sharp one, an open hand instead of a closed fist. He sees that every person carries burdens unseen, so he tries where he can to ease the load, and where he cannot, he does not add to it. Because dignity is not a reward for kindness received, it is the soil from which kindness grows. He watches time closely, not with anxiety but with reverence, because time is not something he spends, it's something he stewards. He does not waste hours in resentment. He does not give days to distraction. He lives with the awareness that each morning is a page that will not be written again. And so he writes it well. He shows up fully. He chooses meaning over comfort, purpose over ease. Not every day will be grand, but each can be honest. Nothing the Stoic does is for show. His life is lived in alignment, not in spectacle. His peace is quiet. His strength is invisible. His courage is not noise, it is endurance. And that is why he is free, because he has chosen to live not by impulse, nor opinion, but by principle. And that choice, made again and again, moment after moment, is the shaping of a soul no circumstance can break. The Stoic sees death not as a dark shadow to be feared, but as a natural event to be understood. He wakes each day with its presence in mind, not to be morbid, but to be urgent in how he lives. To waste time becomes impossible when you remember it is borrowed. And in knowing that the end is certain, the Stoic is freed from the illusion of endless tomorrows. He does not fear death. He fears not having lived with meaning before it comes. He does not cling to people, not out of coldness, but out of love without chains. The Stoic treasures relationships deeply, but not possessively. He understands that those we care about are with us for a time, not forever. So he loves fully now without the need to control or trap. He lets others be free, even when that freedom takes them elsewhere. Because love that suffocates is not love. It's fear wearing its mask. He learns the art of doing less, not from laziness but from wisdom. The Stoic removes the unnecessary. He sharpens his efforts to the essential. He doesn't chase every goal, respond to every call, or join every movement. He chooses, intentionally, and through that choice, he preserves his energy for what aligns with his deeper values. There is great strength in restraint, in leaving space, in not filling every moment. He welcomes silence, not only the absence of sound, but the silence between thoughts. In that space, he observes the mind's movement, the urges, the judgments, the fears. He watches them come. He watches them go. He is not his anger. He is not his craving. He is not even his anxiety. He is the space behind those things. And in returning to that space, he finds clarity again and again. The Stoic does not debate what is out of his control. He does not rage at the weather. He does not fume at traffic. He does not dwell on why others didn't act differently. He accepts what is, not passively, not with defeat, but with the understanding that resistance wastes life. That peace lies in directing energy toward what can be changed, what can be chosen, what can be lived. When misfortune strikes, the Stoic leans into it like a sailor into the wind. He doesn't collapse. He doesn't blame. He steadies himself and asks, how can I respond nobly to this? How can I make this part of my training? He sees hardship not as punishment, but as sharpening. He does not ask to be spared the weight. He asks to be strong enough to carry it. He lets go of entitlement. He does not assume that life owes him ease, fairness, or reward. He moves through the world with humility, not demand, because expectation breeds resentment, and gratitude grows where entitlement dies. So instead of saying, "Why me?" he says, "Why not me? What now? What can I do?" This shift changes everything. He practices joy, but not the joy of escape. Not the kind that depends on outcome, applause, or luck. The Stoic cultivates joy in simplicity, in the warmth of sunlight, in the taste of food, in the quiet of breath. He does not wait for life to be perfect before smiling, because he knows perfection never comes, only moments do. And moments, when seen rightly, contain enough wonder to soften even the hardest day. He does not define himself by success, nor does he define himself by failure. He sees both as feedback, not identity. If he wins, he reflects. If he loses, he reflects. But he never lets either dictate his worth, because the Stoic measures life not by outcome, but by virtue. Not by what he has achieved, but by how he achieved it. Was he honest? Was he brave? Did he keep his word? These are the real markers of a well-lived day. He welcomes correction. To be wrong is not a threat to him, it is an opportunity, an invitation to refine, to grow. He does not defend every belief out of pride. He listens, and when truth shows itself, he follows it, even if it costs him comfort, even if it costs him certainty, because the Stoic is not loyal to being right. He is loyal to becoming better. He separates his identity from his role. He may be a parent, a leader, an artist, a worker, but he knows these are roles, not the whole of him. If one is lost, he is not lost. If one changes, he adapts, because who he is does not depend on title. It depends on character, and character travels with him no matter the circumstance. He does not exaggerate his troubles. He does not make pain bigger through storytelling. He does not rehearse offenses, overthink slights, or nurse old wounds. He asks, what exactly happened? What is the truth beneath the noise? And in answering that, he often finds the pain was smaller than his mind made it. That healing begins with accuracy. That truth deflates suffering. He practices anonymity in his good deeds. The Stoic helps quietly. He serves without seeking credit. He uplifts without broadcasting, because the value of kindness does not increase with applause. It increases with intention. To do good for the sake of good. To love without performance. This is where the soul finds its highest nourishment. He guards his inner citadel, that place inside that cannot be touched by insult, loss, or fate. It is his inner fortress, not made of walls but of values. He returns to it when the world is loud, when he feels shaken, disappointed, or betrayed. And there, he reminds himself of who he is, of what matters, of what endures. He finds contentment not in having everything, but in needing less. Not because he rejects wealth, but because he recognizes that abundance of things does not equal abundance of peace. He can enjoy what he has without fearing its loss, without being owned by it, because real wealth is being able to walk away. Real richness is found in freedom. He treats obstacles as pathways. The delay becomes patience. The insult becomes tolerance. The illness becomes acceptance, not because he likes pain, but because he refuses to let it break his spirit. He molds adversity into virtue, and when the world says, "This should stop you," the Stoic replies, "This is how I continue." The Stoic doesn't rush his conclusions. He lets things unfold. He observes before deciding. He listens before speaking. He reflects before acting, because impulse is not clarity, and wisdom is never loud. So he waits, and in the waiting he sees more than others do, and he acts with a power born of patience. He never forgets how little he knows. Even after years of study, practice, discipline, he keeps the beginner's mind. He walks through the world asking, what more is there to understand? What can I unlearn? What part of myself still resists growth? This humility is not weakness. It is the engine of lifelong transformation. And when the day ends, the Stoic lays down his thoughts, not with regret, not with false pride, but with gentle honesty. What was done well, he notes. What must be improved, he vows. He sleeps not because the world is perfect, but because he knows he gave it his effort, and tomorrow he will begin again, calm, clear, steady. As always, there is a quiet power in accepting the flow of time, not resisting the passage of years but embracing it as part of the story. The Stoic does not grieve the loss of youth or fear the approach of old age. Instead, he welcomes each season of life, knowing that every stage offers its own lessons, its own opportunities for growth. To lament aging is to fight against nature itself, and to fight nature is to invite suffering. Instead, the Stoic says, "I am here now. This moment is mine." He learns to find peace in the inevitability of change, allowing time to sculpt his character rather than erode it. The Stoic's mind is like a garden that must be tended daily. He watches the thoughts that take root, knowing not all deserve to grow. Negative thoughts, resentment, envy, despair, are weeds. He pulls them out before they choke his peace. But the seeds of gratitude, patience, courage, and kindness, these he nurtures with care. He waters them with reflection, feeds them with practice. Over time, this garden becomes a sanctuary. He understands that what the mind cultivates becomes reality. To guard the mind is to guard life itself. He learns that true freedom is found in the mastery of desire. The world offers countless temptations, distractions, and false promises of happiness. But the Stoic holds steady. He knows that giving in to every impulse only leads to bondage to fleeting pleasures, to opinions, to outcomes beyond his control. So he chooses discipline over indulgence. He trains his desires as a gardener prunes a wild vine, guiding, shaping, sometimes cutting away. In this way, he becomes free not because the world changes, but because his relationship to it does. In moments of pain, the Stoic meets himself with compassion, but not self-pity. He recognizes suffering as part of the human condition, a universal thread that binds us all. Yet, he refuses to be consumed by it. He holds his pain like a traveler carries a heavy pack, not as a burden to define him, but as a weight to be managed with strength and dignity. And through this, he finds resilience, not by escaping suffering, but by embracing it with clear eyes and a steady heart. He never confuses external success with internal worth. A promotion, a compliment, or material gain might bring fleeting pleasure, but they do not shape his soul. His sense of value is anchored deeper in how he treats others, how he acts when no one watches, how faithfully he lives according to his principles. This anchoring protects him from the storms of fortune, allowing him to remain steady even when the world seems to crumble. He sees anger as a signal, not a solution. When rage arises, the Stoic pauses. He asks, "What is this anger telling me? Is it justified? Will acting on it bring clarity or chaos?" Often, he discovers anger is a mask for fear or disappointment. By recognizing this, he disarms the emotion. He chooses response over reaction, and in that choice lies his power. The Stoic values honesty, not only in speech but in thought and intention. He does not hide behind excuses, distort facts, or deceive, even when falsehoods might seem easier or safer. He understands that truth is the foundation of trust and the bedrock of a tranquil mind. To live honestly is to live openly, without fear of shadows or masks. He embraces solitude without loneliness. Time alone is not a punishment but a gift, a chance to connect with the self beneath roles, distractions, and noise. In solitude, he reflects, he listens, he returns to the source of his strength. This solitude is a wellspring that replenishes his spirit, preparing him to engage with the world with renewed clarity and calm. He remembers that no one is perfect. He approaches others with patience, knowing that everyone wrestles with their own struggles, fears, and flaws. He extends grace not as weakness but as wisdom, because holding rigid judgments only narrows the heart, and a heart that widens embraces life more fully. The Stoic nurtures a sense of wonder. Though the mind is disciplined, it is not closed. He marvels at the ordinary, the way sunlight dances on leaves, the rhythm of breath, the laughter of a child. This wonder is not naive but profound. It It reminds him of the mystery beneath the surface of life. And in that mystery, he finds humility and joy. He keeps the company of those who challenge him, not to break his spirit, but to sharpen it. Friends who provoke reflection, who ask difficult questions, who hold mirrors up to his soul. He avoids shallow praise and easy agreement, because growth blooms in the presence of challenge, not comfort. He practices forgiveness not to forget but to free. He does not carry the chains of grudges or bitterness. Forgiving others releases him from their hold, allowing peace to return. He understands that forgiveness is a gift to himself first, a reclaiming of his own calm. He learns that humility is strength cloaked in softness. It is the willingness to admit ignorance, to ask for help, to listen deeply. Humility does not diminish him. It opens him to truth and connection. It grounds him in reality, not ego. He understands the rhythm of effort and rest. Just as the body needs sleep to heal, the mind needs moments of stillness to renew. He does not glorify constant striving. Instead, he honors balance, knowing that rest is part of wisdom. The Stoic treasures integrity. He keeps his promises, not because others watch, but because his word is a reflection of himself. Integrity is the silent agreement between who he is inside and how he acts outside. It is the thread that weaves his life into a coherent whole. He cultivates patience with the unfolding of events. Not everything can or should be rushed. He waits without anxiety, knowing that timing is beyond his control. In this waiting, he finds a calm strength, a trust in the process of life. He values simplicity, not as deprivation but as clarity. The clutter of unnecessary possessions, thoughts, and desires only clouds the mind. He strips away the excess to reveal what truly matters. In simplicity, he finds freedom. He approaches each day as a chance to practice virtue anew. No matter past failures or achievements, today is fresh soil. He plants seeds of courage, wisdom, and kindness, knowing they will grow in time. This daily commitment transforms his life step by step. He remains open to change, not rigid in his views or habits. Flexibility is a sign of strength, not weakness. He bends with circumstance, adapting without losing core values. This adaptability is his shield against suffering. He embraces the interconnectedness of all things. Recognizing that his actions ripple beyond himself, he acts with responsibility and care. He knows that to harm another is ultimately to harm himself. So he lives with kindness and justice at the center. He trusts in the process of effort, not in immediate results. Success, failure, recognition, these are often beyond control. But effort is always within reach. By committing fully to the present task, he finds satisfaction, regardless of outcome. The Stoic does not seek to control the uncontrollable. He surrenders to what he cannot change, not out of resignation but wisdom. This surrender is liberation, a release from needless struggle. He chooses to see obstacles as opportunities in disguise. Every difficulty contains a lesson, a chance to grow stronger and wiser. He asks not why me, but what now? And in this question, he finds his path forward. He remembers that life is fleeting and fragile. This awareness deepens his appreciation. He does not postpone living, thinking a better time will come. He lives fully now, in gratitude and presence. In this way, the Stoic walks the world, steady, clear, and free, not because life is easy, but because he has learned to meet it as it is. And in meeting life with courage and wisdom, he discovers peace, a peace that no circumstance can steal. There's a quiet grace in embracing what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. It's a lesson that runs deeper than mere acceptance. It's about realigning your energy toward what truly matters, the part of your experience shaped by your choices, your actions, your mind. The external world, with all its chaos and unpredictability, is not yours to govern. But your response to it, your judgments, your will, is the domain where freedom lives. This freedom is not something granted by fortune. It's forged in the silent forge of daily discipline, in the way you decide to face discomfort, uncertainty, and disappointment. It's the space between stimulus and response, where you meet yourself with clarity and calm rather than reaction and turmoil. Cultivating this space means stepping out of the role of victim and stepping into the role of the responsible agent of your life. Consider how often we measure our happiness by how events unfold. Successes, failures, praise, criticism. The Stoic reminds us that this approach is fragile, like building a house on sand. Instead, true contentment comes from the soil beneath, the soil of virtue, reason, and intention. When your peace is rooted here, no storm can uproot you. And what is virtue but living in accordance with nature, not nature as the wild outside, but the nature of human reason and social being? To live virtuously is to act with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, not as abstract ideals but as practical guides for everyday decisions. When you face a difficult conversation, act justly. When fear whispers in your ear, call upon courage. When desire pulls too hard, remind yourself of moderation. This is not about perfection or rigid rules. It's about progress and presence. Each day offers countless moments to practice. When you choose patience over anger, kindness over judgment, honesty over convenience, each choice builds a stronger foundation, a character less swayed by circumstance. Pause here for a moment and reflect on how often your mind is pulled into regret over the past or anxiety about the future. The Stoic teaches that the past is gone, fixed and unchangeable, and the future is unknown, beyond your immediate reach. What remains is the present moment, the only space where life truly happens. By focusing your attention here, you reclaim the power to act effectively and peacefully. Imagine your mind as a clear sky, with passing clouds of thought and emotion. You don't need to chase each cloud or be swept away by storms. Instead, watch them pass without attachment or aversion. This detachment is not coldness but clarity. It allows you to respond with reason, not impulse. Another profound insight is the understanding of your role in the greater whole. You are a part of a vast, interconnected system, and your actions ripple outward. This awareness invites humility, responsibility, and compassion. You are not isolated. Your choices affect others, and theirs affect you. Recognizing this web calls you to live thoughtfully, with regard for the common good, even as you care for your own inner well-being. In this web, relationships become a vital practice ground for virtue. Difficult people, challenging situations, betrayals, each tests your patience, your tolerance, your capacity to maintain your values under pressure. These moments are not obstacles to your peace but invitations to deepen it. To respond with anger or bitterness is easy. To respond with understanding and calm is strength. In confronting loss, whether of possessions, status, or loved ones, the Stoic offers a path through grief that does not numb or deny but embraces reality without illusion. Grief is natural. Attachment to things as if they were permanent is the source of much suffering. By internalizing the impermanence of all things, you prepare your heart to endure loss with dignity and to cherish what you have while you have it. Consider also the power of mental rehearsals, a technique the Stoics use to prepare for hardship. By imagining possible difficulties ahead of time, you build resilience and reduce fear. You don't invite misery, you build strength. This readiness is not pessimism but wisdom, a way to meet life's challenges without surprise or despair. You also learn that fame, wealth, and pleasure are indifferent in the grand scheme. They may be preferred or dispreferred, but they are not good or bad in themselves. Your happiness does not depend on their presence or absence, but on how you use them and what you make of your inner self. This shifts your focus from chasing externals to cultivating internals. In moments when your desires threaten to overwhelm, remember that you are not your impulses. You have the power to observe, to question, to choose. This self-mastery is the cornerstone of freedom. No one can take this from you unless you surrender it. The Stoic journey is a continuous practice of returning to what truly matters, the harmony between reason and emotion, the alignment of action and principle, the commitment to growth and resilience. It is not about escaping life but engaging with it fully, without illusion, with courage and grace. Finally, the Stoic accepts that life is a cycle: birth, growth, decay, and death. This cycle is natural and universal. By facing mortality openly, You dissolve the fear that so often shadows existence. You come to see each day as precious, each breath as a gift. This awareness sharpens your focus, intensifies your gratitude, and deepens your peace. This is not a distant ideal but a living path. In the ordinary moments, waiting in line, facing criticism, encountering loss, there is the chance to practice Stoic wisdom. With patience and courage, with reflection and resolve, you build a life unshaken by fortune, rich with meaning, steady in the face of change. So breathe in this moment. Feel the weight and lightness of your presence. The rest is in your hands. There is a quiet power in understanding that the world does not owe you fairness or justice. This realization is not meant to breed bitterness but to awaken a profound kind of freedom. Because if the world is indifferent, then your peace cannot depend on the world's whims. It must arise from within, from your own judgments and the values you cultivate. When something happens that seems unfair or hurtful, it's tempting to let anger or resentment take root. Yet, the Stoic invites you to pause and ask, what is within my control here? Your feelings, your interpretations, your responses, that is where your power lies. The actions or words of others, the uncontrollable circumstances, these are outside your realm. To waste energy on them is to surrender your peace. Imagine a ship in a storm, tossed by waves beyond its making. The sailor cannot command the sea but can adjust the sails, steady the rudder, and navigate with skill and calm. This is how you must meet life's tempests. You cannot always control the events, but you can steer your mind. This steering requires constant practice. It means observing your thoughts without immediate judgment, learning to distinguish between what is helpful and what is harmful. For example, worry about the future often arises from imagining outcomes that have not happened and may never happen. This is wasted energy, better conserved for present action. In moments of frustration or despair, recall that every situation offers an opportunity for virtue. A difficulty is a chance to show patience, a slight, an invitation to kindness. Failure, a teacher of humility. When you recognize these moments as part of your training, you transform obstacles into steps on your path. The Stoic life is not about suppressing emotion but about mastering it. Feelings come and go like clouds across the sky. You don't deny their presence. You simply don't allow them to dictate your direction. This subtle but profound distinction is what keeps you balanced. Consider also the power of perspective. Much suffering comes from a narrow view focused only on the self or immediate desires. Expanding your vision to include the vastness of time and the interconnectedness of all things brings a calming distance. Problems shrink, and your place in the world becomes clearer. In this wider view, what troubles you today will be a faint memory tomorrow, and what feels urgent now will fade. This knowledge can soften anxiety and foster patience. It also humbles pride, reminding you that life is larger than any single success or failure. In relationships, Stoicism encourages you to meet others with understanding, recognizing that everyone acts according to their nature and knowledge. When someone harms you, it is often out of ignorance or pain, not malice. This awareness softens resentment and opens space for compassion. At the same time, it teaches firm boundaries, knowing what you can accept without losing your integrity. You are responsible for your character, not for controlling others. Letting go of the desire to change people frees you to focus on your own growth. Gratitude is another quiet strength of the Stoic path. Rather than longing for what is missing, cultivate appreciation for what you have, the breath you take, the loved ones near, the chance to act with purpose. This attitude shifts your mind from scarcity to abundance, from despair to hope. Even in hardship, gratitude can be found. The Stoics remind us that suffering can deepen wisdom and compassion. It humbles the proud and awakens the soul to life's preciousness. This does not mean seeking pain but recognizing its potential meaning when it arises. The Stoic also practices detachment from material things, understanding that possessions and status are fleeting and do not define true worth. This does not require renouncing all comforts but seeing them as tools, not treasures. When you rely less on externals for happiness, you become more resilient. Death, the great equalizer, is met not with fear but with acceptance. Knowing that life is finite encourages you to live fully and authentically. Each day is a gift and a responsibility. This perspective dissolves procrastination and regret, urging you to act now with courage and integrity. Simplicity in thought and action is another teaching to embrace. Complication breeds confusion and distraction. When you strip away excess desire and needless worry, you reveal the essentials: your values, your intentions, your ability to choose. In moments of temptation, remind yourself of your purpose. Short-lived pleasures often come at the cost of lasting peace. True satisfaction comes from living in alignment with your principles, even when it demands sacrifice. The Stoic path is not easy, but it is rewarding. It requires vigilance against habits of complaint, blame, and distraction. It asks for honesty in self-reflection and commitment to continual improvement. Remember, you are never alone on this journey. The Stoics who walked before you offer their wisdom as companions. Their writings and examples are like lanterns along a dark path, illuminating steps forward. And so, breathe deeply and stand firm. Life's winds will blow, and the ground may shift beneath your feet, but within you lies a steady center, a quiet strength built through reflection, choice, and perseverance. Let this inner citadel be your refuge, your source of courage, and your wellspring of joy. Here, in this place of calm, you meet yourself honestly, live wisely, and face each moment with open eyes and a steadfast heart. There is a profound freedom in learning to live with less attachment to the outcomes we so desperately seek to control. The desire to shape the future or bend events to our will is a natural impulse, yet it often traps us in cycles of anxiety and disappointment. The Stoic teaches us to shift this focus inward, to nurture the part of ourselves that is always within reach: our reason, our virtue, our judgment. When you wake each day, you have before you a canvas untouched. What colors will you choose? What strokes will you make? You cannot command the weather, the actions of others, or the twists of fate. But you can choose how you paint your character on the fabric of time. This act of choice is your true power. Often, we mistake the noise of external events for the essence of life. A missed opportunity, a harsh word, a failed plan. These jostle our minds and threaten to pull us off balance. Yet beneath that noise lies a stillness, a steady ground that no storm can shake. Returning your attention there is a practice worth cultivating daily. The practice begins with observing your thoughts as a quiet witness. When anger rises, pause before letting it sweep you away. When fear whispers its worst stories, listen calmly and respond with reason. This is not suppression but mastery, the gentle steering of your mind back to what is real and what is helpful. There is a saying, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This means living so authentically that your actions speak more powerfully than your words. It means choosing kindness even when ignored, patience even when pressed, integrity even when it costs. The world may not notice immediately, but this steadfastness shapes your inner world profoundly. In the face of uncertainty, remind yourself that all things change. Nothing is permanent, neither success nor failure, neither joy nor sorrow. This truth is not a source of despair but a call to appreciate the present moment fully. When you let go of clinging to what is fleeting, you open to what is enduring: your character, your wisdom, your calm. Consider the nature of desire itself. Desire often pulls us toward what we do not have, creating a restless hunger that cannot be satisfied. Stoicism invites you to reflect on whether these desires align with what truly matters. Are they tied to your values, or are they distractions? By discerning carefully, you conserve energy and deepen contentment. There is also strength in embracing discomfort rather than avoiding it. Life's challenges are unavoidable. What matters is your attitude toward them. When you meet difficulty with courage and grace, you transform suffering into growth. Each trial becomes a lesson in resilience, a step toward greater wisdom. Forgiveness, too, is a quiet power. Holding grudges binds you to past pain and robs you of peace. Recognizing that others act from their own struggles and ignorance allows you to release bitterness. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harm but freeing yourself from its chains. When you face temptation to judge harshly or speak harshly, pause and consider, what would the person you respect most do here? This moment of reflection can prevent needless conflict and deepen your understanding. It also nurtures humility, reminding you that you too are imperfect and learning. The Stoic life embraces humility as a foundation. Pride blinds and isolates. Humility opens and connects. When you admit your mistakes and accept your limitations, you become open to learning and to the support of others. This openness strengthens your inner resolve rather than weakening it. In your relationships, strive to see others as fellow travelers, each on their own path, each with struggles unseen. This perspective fosters patience and kindness. It also reminds you that control over others is an illusion. Influence comes through example and gentle persuasion, not force. The practice of self-discipline is a quiet revolution. It is not about harshness, but about honoring your highest self. Each time you resist a harmful impulse, you strengthen your ability to choose what truly benefits you and those around you. This builds a deep sense of freedom. Gratitude is not just a fleeting feeling, but a habit that reshapes your view of the world. Begin and end each day by noting something you appreciate. Over time, this trains your mind to notice abundance rather than scarcity, to find joy in what is rather than longing for what is not. In moments of loss, grief, or change, allow yourself to feel deeply but without losing perspective. The pain is real, and it deserves acknowledgement. Yet, by remembering the transient nature of all things, you hold space for healing and acceptance. Life's rhythm includes both holding on and letting go. The Stoic approach to ambition is measured. It recognizes that striving for excellence is noble, but that attachment to outcomes breeds suffering. Pursue your goals with dedication, but temper desire with acceptance of whatever results come. This balance allows you to act with clarity and peace. Simplicity in life is a source of strength. Reducing clutter, mental, emotional, physical, frees space for what matters. It clarifies priorities and reduces distraction. This simplicity nurtures calm and focus, enabling you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Every day offers opportunities to practice these teachings. Whether in moments of calm or chaos, you can return to your inner center. There, you find a well of patience, wisdom, and strength that nothing external can diminish. So as you move through your days, remember this: your mind is a garden. What you choose to nurture, whether fears, judgments, or virtues, will grow. Tend it with care, and you cultivate a life of meaning, resilience, and quiet joy. Imagine for a moment the pace at which your thoughts move, relentless, often chaotic, tumbling like leaves in a gust of wind. Now, consider the possibility that beneath that swirling storm, there exists a calm reservoir, deep and still. The Stoic invites us to dive into that stillness, to become acquainted with the part of ourselves that is unshaken by circumstance. This is not a retreat from life, but a meeting place with reality as it is, unfiltered and clear. When frustration surfaces, perhaps at a delay, a disappointment, or a change you did not foresee, pause. Allow yourself a breath. Feel the tension, but do not surrender to it. Instead, ask, what can I control here? The answer may be small, but it is yours. Your judgment, your attitude, your next action, these are always within your reach. Let that thought root you. It's natural to seek comfort and avoid pain. Yet, consider how often the pursuit of comfort leads us into chains of dependency on approval, possessions, or outcomes. The Stoics teach a different path. Welcome discomfort as a teacher. When you lean into discomfort, it loses its power to disrupt. You begin to see it as a moment, not a master. Reflect on the idea that many things you desire are not truly needed. Desire often disguises itself as necessity. It urges us toward excess, toward what is fleeting and superficial. But fulfillment arises not from accumulation but from appreciation. To cultivate this, practice looking at what you have with fresh eyes, as if seeing for the first time. This simple shift reveals richness where you once saw scarcity. When faced with anger, that hot fire that clouds reason and judgment, the Stoics' counsel is to delay response. Anger thrives in immediacy. By pausing, you give space for reason to reassert itself. Consider the cause of your anger. Is it within your power to change? If not, why surrender your peace? If yes, act with purpose, not passion. There is a profound dignity in accepting that some things will go beyond your control. The seasons change, people act according to their nature, and fate unfolds as it will. Resisting these truths only breeds suffering. Acceptance here is not resignation but a serene acknowledgement of life's flow. In accepting, you conserve strength to focus where it matters. Imagine your mind as a fortress. Every thought and impulse is a visitor seeking entrance. You are the gatekeeper, deciding who may enter and who must wait. This vigilance is a practice, daily, patient, and gentle. Over time, it builds resilience and clarity, a sanctuary within where you can rest undisturbed. In relationships, the Stoic way is to recognize the autonomy of others. You cannot control their opinions or actions, only your own responses. When disappointment arises from others' behavior, return to your own center. Ask, what virtue can I embody here? Patience, kindness, or perhaps quiet strength? By focusing inward, you regain agency. Consider too the practice of reflection each evening. Review the day not with harsh judgment but with a compassionate eye. What did you do well? Where did you stumble? What can you learn? This habit sharpens self-awareness and nurtures growth without the weight of self-recrimination. In moments of success, be mindful not to become attached. Triumphs are as transient as clouds. Celebrate quietly, then return to your work. Let gratitude guide you, not pride. This keeps you grounded, ready for the inevitable ebb that follows flow. The Stoics valued simplicity, not as an aesthetic but as a discipline of focus. In a world overflowing with distractions, to live simply is to reclaim your attention. This means choosing what truly serves your values and gently releasing the rest. It is a daily practice of discernment and choice. When faced with criticism, pause before reacting. Consider the source and intent. Is there truth that can serve your improvement, or is it mere noise? By not taking offense, you protect your peace and open the door to growth. Remember, others' judgments are reflections of their own perspectives, not your essence. Time is the most precious resource you have. How often is it squandered in worries about things that may never happen or regrets over things long past? The present moment is all you possess. To live fully here is the art of presence. Each breath, each step, each conversation is an opportunity to practice awareness and choice. Death, often feared, is simply a natural part of life's cycle. To meditate on mortality is not morbid but freeing. It reminds you that life is finite, that every moment counts. This awareness sharpens your focus on what truly matters: love, integrity, courage, the lasting imprint of your character. The Stoic invites you to be a gardener of your mind and heart. Remove the weeds of fear, envy, and anger. Cultivate seeds of wisdom, patience, and joy. This work requires diligence but yields a harvest of peace. Every day you have countless choices: to complain or to accept, to blame or to understand, to resist or to adapt. The path of Stoicism is to choose wisely, with calm deliberation. Not because life will be easy, but because you seek to meet life with grace and strength. As you continue on this path, you may find yourself less swayed by external events and more anchored in your own reasoned judgment. This does not mean indifference to the world, but rather engagement from a place of stability. Your actions become deliberate, your emotions balanced, your mind clear. In this way, Stoicism is not an abstract theory but a living practice, a daily conversation with yourself about who you want to be amid the ever-changing tides of life. It is an invitation to live not as a victim of circumstance but as a steward of your own soul. Let this truth settle quietly within you. In the stillness that follows, you find a power unlike any other. The power to live fully, wisely, and well. There is a subtle power in learning to greet each morning as if it were new, because in a very real sense, it is. The past, with all its pains and triumphs, is gone. The future, with its uncertainties, is yet to come. What remains is this moment, crisp and untouched, an opportunity to practice the art of living well. How will you meet this day? with impatience, with openness, with a heart willing to accept whatever arises. You might notice that much of your unrest comes not from events themselves but from your interpretations, the stories your mind tells about what is happening. A sudden change at work, a difficult conversation, a delay in plans, each is neutral at first. Your mind layers meaning upon it, and there your peace may begin to unravel. The Stoic invites you to step back from these stories, to watch them without being swept away. In doing so, you reclaim your calm. At times, life will confront you with what feels like injustice, situations where fairness seems absent and your efforts appear unrewarded. The temptation is to react with bitterness or despair. Yet, the Stoic reminds us that justice, as we see it, is often a limited perspective. The cosmos operates on principles far beyond our control or full understanding. Instead of railing against the perceived injustice, direct your energy toward your own virtue. Be honest, be kind, not for reward or recognition, but because these qualities nourish your soul. When you face failure, it can sting deeply. It shakes your confidence and clouds your vision. But failure is not a verdict on your worth. It is feedback on a single attempt. Each failure carries the seed of wisdom if you are willing to look for it. Ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I improve? This is the practice of resilience, a central thread woven through Stoic teaching. Consider also the idea of impermanence. Nothing in this world is fixed or eternal. Relationships, possessions, status, all pass through your life like visitors, here for a while, then gone. Holding on tightly only breeds suffering. Instead, appreciate these gifts in the moment and release them when the time comes. This does not diminish their value. Rather, it deepens your gratitude. Think about your mind as a workshop where you craft your character. Each choice, each action, is like a stroke of a brush on a canvas. The picture you paint is your life. Are you painting with care, with intention? Or are you reacting, careless of the image you create? The Stoic path is one of conscious creation. In conversations and relationships, it's easy to be drawn into drama and conflict. But there is a quieter, stronger way. Listen fully before responding. Seek to understand, not to win. Speak with clarity, but without harshness. These moments of restraint build bridges rather than walls. The Stoics teach that your value does not depend on external validation. This is a profound freedom. When you know your worth comes from within, you are less vulnerable to the whims of praise or criticism. Your inner compass remains steady, guiding you through turbulent seas. Life will challenge you with pain, physical, emotional, or both. You cannot always avoid pain, but you can control your response to it. Pain loses its grip when met with acceptance and courage. This does not mean you do not seek relief or healing, but rather that you refuse to let pain define you. Practice humility, not as a diminishment of self, but as a recognition of your place in the vast order of things. There is wisdom in acknowledging that you do not have all the answers, that others may teach you, and that the world is bigger than your perspective. Humility opens the door to growth and connection. Every day offers an opportunity to practice gratitude, not as a forced cheerfulness, but as a deep appreciation for life's simple gifts. The warmth of sunlight, the breath in your lungs, the kindness of a stranger. Gratitude softens the heart and expands your capacity for joy. When distractions pull you away from what matters, gently bring your focus back. This is not failure but practice. The mind, like a muscle, grows stronger through effort and repetition. Over time, your ability to remain present will transform how you experience life. Fear often paralyzes us. Fear of loss, of rejection, of the unknown. The Stoic invites you to examine your fears closely. What is the worst that can happen? Often, the reality is less frightening than the imagination suggests. By facing fear with reason, you diminish its hold. Remember that anger, envy, and greed are responses that cloud your judgment and weaken your spirit. Each time you feel these arise, notice them without judgment. Ask yourself what underlying need or belief fuels them. This awareness weakens their power and gives you the choice to respond differently. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living according to nature, not in the sense of wilderness, but in alignment with your true human nature, which is rational and social. This means cultivating reason, acting with justice, and contributing to the community around you. Your life gains meaning through these connections. When setbacks come, do not see them as roadblocks but as invitations to deepen your practice. The Stoic approach is not to seek a life without challenges, but to develop the inner strength to meet challenges with equanimity. In moments of uncertainty, when the future seems unclear, remember that you carry within you the tools to navigate whatever comes. Your mind, your values, your choices, these are your anchors. Hold fast to them. The practice of Stoicism is ultimately about freedom. Freedom from the tyranny of uncontrolled emotions, from the burden of false desires, from the fear of change and loss. This freedom allows you to engage with life fully, with courage and joy. As you move through your day, remind yourself that each moment is a chance to practice wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These are not abstract virtues but practical guides to living well. Let your life be a reflection of these teachings, not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts of integrity and kindness. In this way, you craft not just a life of external success, but a life rich in meaning and peace. A life that, when looked back upon, reveals a soul that met the world with strength and grace. There is something deeply calming about embracing the moment as it is, without demanding it conform to your desires or expectations. You might find yourself caught in the tension between what you want and what actually is, and it can feel exhausting. The Stoic approach invites a gentle, steady release of this tension. Imagine your mind as a calm lake, disturbed not by the natural ripple of life, but by the storms of your own judgments and attachments. What if you simply let the ripples come and go, without trying to still the water by force? This openness to reality, free of unnecessary resistance, is where peace begins. When you notice yourself caught in frustration or impatience, pause and ask, what part of this is truly within my control? Often, the answer reveals a small space where your effort matters and a vast expanse where it does not. Your power lies in how you respond, not in the external circumstances themselves. This distinction is like a lighthouse guiding you away from wasted energy and toward calm effectiveness. Consider the people you encounter each day. Each carries their own burdens, fears, and hopes, just as you do. When someone acts in a way that jars or hurts you, it is tempting to take it personally, to let anger or resentment grow. But what if you saw their actions as the unfolding of their own story, shaped by experiences and struggles you may never fully know? This perspective can soften your heart and free you from needless suffering. Respond with patience and kindness, not because others always deserve it, but because you deserve the peace that comes from compassion. There is profound strength in accepting your limits. You cannot control the opinions of others, the twists of fate, or the passage of time. You can only cultivate your own character, your own judgments, your own actions. This acceptance is not defeat. It is the foundation of true freedom. When you stop fighting what cannot be changed, you redirect your energy into what can be nurtured and shaped. You might notice the way desires pull you toward things. Status, approval, comfort. Promising happiness but often delivering restlessness. The Stoic teaches that desires, when unchecked, become chains. True contentment grows from desiring what is within your power and from appreciating the simplicity of what you already have. This shift from craving external things to nurturing internal qualities rewires how you experience satisfaction. In the face of loss, whether of possessions, relationships, or health, there is a natural grief that arises. Rather than denying or suppressing this grief, the Stoic encourages you to face it honestly, to honor it as a part of life's flow. At the same time, remember that loss does not erase what once was. Memories, lessons, and love remain in your heart. This balanced approach allows grief to transform from a source of suffering into a testament to life's richness. When you find your mind restless with worry about the future, remind yourself that the future is not yet here. It is a landscape of possibilities, many beyond your influence. What matters most is your commitment to act rightly in the present, moment by moment. The future will unfold from the seeds you plant today. Your judgments create much of your experience. Two people can face the same event and feel entirely different things about it. This power to frame experience is a gift. Train your mind to see challenges as opportunities for growth, setbacks as lessons, and difficulties as invitations to practice virtue. Over time, this habit transforms not just your perspective but your reality. In moments of success or praise, be mindful not to become attached or prideful. These moments are fleeting, and when you cling to them, you set yourself up for disappointment. Instead, welcome success as a chance to serve others better, to deepen your humility, and to keep your focus steady on what truly matters. The practice of self-examination is invaluable. At the end of each day, reflect quietly on your thoughts, words, and actions. Where did you act with wisdom? Where did you stumble? This gentle scrutiny is not self-criticism but a tool for continuous improvement, like tuning a fine instrument. Your life becomes a work of art shaped by your attentive care. Remember, your time is limited. The hours you have will never return. This truth invites a kind of urgency, not frantic but purposeful. Live intentionally. Choose activities and relationships that align with your values. Let go of distractions that dissipate your energy. In doing so, you honor the precious gift of your existence. The Stoic mind embraces adversity as a forge for strength. When hardship strikes, you are called not to despair but to stand firm, to cultivate courage and resilience. This is not about denial but about facing reality with clarity and resolve. Every challenge met with grace is a testament to your inner freedom. Compassion toward others is not a weakness but a profound strength. Seeing others through the lens of shared humanity dissolves the barriers that separate. It is in giving kindness without expectation that your own soul expands. Your passions, when harnessed wisely, can fuel your purpose. Yet unchecked passion can consume you, leading to impulsiveness or suffering. Learn to observe your emotions without being controlled by them. This mastery frees you to act in accordance with reason and integrity. Every moment offers a chance to practice the art of presence. Whether washing dishes, walking, or listening, be fully there. This presence roots you in reality and enhances the depth and quality of your experience. You may encounter people who challenge your patience or test your kindness. See these encounters as opportunities to practice equanimity. How you respond reveals your character far more than their actions. The world is ever-changing, and clinging to permanence invites pain. Instead, welcome change as a natural part of life's rhythm. Adapt with flexibility and grace, finding stability not in external conditions but within yourself. There is a profound peace in letting go of the need to be understood or approved by others. When your self-worth rests within, external opinions lose their power to disturb you. The practice of gratitude is a daily balm. Find moments to appreciate the breath that fills your lungs, the warmth of sunlight, the kindness offered or received. This habit grounds you and nurtures contentment. Your mind is your sanctuary. Guard it against toxic thoughts and negativity. Fill it instead with reflection, inspiration, and wisdom. This inner environment shapes your experience more than external events. In times of uncertainty or difficulty, remember that you have faced challenges before and emerged stronger. Trust in your ability to endure and to grow. Practice silence and solitude. In quiet moments, you reconnect with your true self, away from noise and distraction. This connection strengthens your clarity and purpose. Be mindful of the stories you tell yourself about the world and your place in it. Are they truthful? Are they helpful? Let go of narratives that cause suffering or limit your potential. Choose your companions wisely. Surround yourself with those who uplift, challenge, and inspire you toward your highest self. The path of virtue is not a straight line but a journey with twists and turns. Be patient with yourself and persistent in your practice. In all things, seek harmony within yourself, with others, and with the world. This harmony is the essence of living well. There is beauty in simplicity. Complexity often breeds confusion and stress. Returning to simple truths, kindness, honesty, courage, grounds you and clarifies your path. Remember that wisdom is practical. It is not knowledge for its own sake but the skill of living skillfully. The art of Stoicism is ultimately about becoming the master of your own soul, the captain of your own fate, not through control of the external, but through mastery of the internal. This journey is lifelong, rich, and deeply rewarding. Imagine for a moment the profound freedom that comes from knowing that no matter what happens outside, you possess a sanctuary within yourself, a place untouched by chaos, a refuge where your mind remains steady and unshaken. This inner citadel is not built from walls or bricks, but from your own reasoned choice to welcome whatever life sends your way without resistance, without judgment. Consider the people you see rushing through their days, weighed down by worries, regrets, and endless desires. Many of us become prisoners of our own expectations, shackled by the need for things to be different than they are. Yet, what if freedom lies precisely in accepting life as it unfolds, with its imperfections and unpredictability? This is not passive surrender, but an active engagement with reality, standing firmly within it, moving gracefully through it. When feelings of anger arise, notice their birth within you, not as commands you must obey, but as sensations passing through your mind. You are not anger, you are the one observing it. By stepping back and watching without immediately reacting, you create a space for wise choice instead of impulsive reaction. This pause is a powerful tool. It turns chaos into clarity. Reflect on the fact that much of human suffering is caused not by the events themselves, but by the stories we tell ourselves about those events. We interpret, we judge, we add layers of meaning that often amplify pain. The Stoic teaches us to question these stories gently. Are they true? Are they necessary? Could there be another way to see this? This inquiry softens the sharp edges of suffering. In relationships, it's easy to feel hurt or disappointed when others don't meet our expectations. Yet, if you remind yourself that every person is imperfect, shaped by their own experiences and limitations, it becomes easier to accept them as they are. Love, then, becomes not a demand but a choice to see the good, to forgive, to extend patience. Think about your ambitions and desires. It is natural to want to improve your circumstances, to grow, to achieve. But sometimes, the pursuit of what lies beyond today blinds you to the richness of the present moment. There is a subtle joy in working diligently while remaining content with what already is. This balance between effort and acceptance is at the heart of a fulfilled life. You may encounter obstacles that seem insurmountable. Instead of viewing them as punishments or unfair burdens, see them as opportunities to develop qualities such as resilience, creativity, and patience. Every difficulty carries within it the seed of growth, if only you are willing to nurture it. Notice how often your mind flits to worries about what others think. The opinions of others can feel like heavy chains binding you to insecurity or fear. Yet, those opinions are out of your control. The only judgment truly within your power is your own. Make that judgment fair, kind, and grounded in reason. When faced with a choice, pause to consider what the wisest action might be. Not the easiest, not the most gratifying in the moment, but the one aligned with integrity, courage, and kindness. Acting in this way builds a character that no circumstance can diminish. Reflect on impermanence. Everything you cherish, every moment, every person is transient. This awareness is not meant to cause despair, but to heighten appreciation. To know that life is fleeting is to cherish it more deeply, to live each day with intention and gratitude. In moments of uncertainty or fear, anchor yourself in what is known, your capacity to reason, to choose, to endure. These are your constants, your compass in a shifting world. Remember that true wealth is found not in possessions but in self-mastery. The more you cultivate wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance within, the richer your life becomes, regardless of external fortune. When distractions or anxieties arise, gently bring your focus back to the present task. Attention is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it grows. This practice grounds you in reality and frees you from the turmoil of scattered thoughts. Life often presents moments where your values will be tested. These are your opportunities to demonstrate who you truly are. Let your actions reflect your principles, even when it is difficult or unpopular. This consistency is the foundation of genuine peace. Take time to appreciate the small things, warmth of sunlight, the sound of birds, the smile of a stranger. These moments are the fabric of life, and noticing them cultivates joy and mindfulness. Be patient with yourself. Growth is a process, not a destination. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when old habits pull you back. Treat yourself with the same compassion you offer others. When feeling overwhelmed, remind yourself of the Stoic distinction between what is within your power and what is not. Release the weight of things beyond your control and place your energy where it can have effect. Your thoughts, your actions, your attitudes. Practice generosity, not just of possessions, but of time, attention, and kindness. Giving enriches both the giver and receiver and fosters a sense of connection beyond self. Consider how the mind can become a garden where either weeds or flowers grow. Cultivate thoughts that nourish wisdom, courage, and tranquility. Pull out the weeds of anger, envy, and fear before they take root. In every challenge, look for the lesson. Even suffering can teach resilience, empathy, or gratitude. This perspective transforms adversity into a path of growth. Remember that silence and stillness are powerful. They offer clarity amidst noise, help you reconnect with your deeper self, and prepare you to face the world with calmness. As you move through your day, keep a steady rhythm of reflection and action. Reflect on your choices, learn from them, then step forward with renewed intention. In your relationships, practice listening deeply without immediate judgment or interruption. This openness fosters understanding and connection. Understand that your time is finite. Each day is a gift to be spent with care. Avoid procrastination and distractions that pull you from what truly matters. Maintain humility. Recognize that no one has all the answers and that wisdom grows through questioning and learning. When emotions surge, treat them as passing visitors rather than permanent residents. Observe without being swept away. Choose your battles wisely. Not every conflict demands your energy. Sometimes peace is the greater victory. Live simply. Complexity often breeds confusion and stress. Focus on what is essential and meaningful. See every human being as a fellow traveler on this journey. Compassion connects and heals. Face death not with fear but as a natural part of life's cycle. This acceptance brings peace and heightens appreciation for the present. Remind yourself that happiness is not found in external goods or fleeting pleasures but in the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. Be present to your breath. It is an anchor in turbulent moments. When anger arises, pause and imagine the consequences of acting on it. Often, restraint leads to better outcomes. Let go of grudges and resentment. Carrying them is like drinking poison and expecting others to suffer. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Growth is made of many tiny steps. Embrace curiosity about yourself and the world. This openness fosters continuous learning and humility. When confronted with criticism, consider it thoughtfully, but do not let it disturb your inner peace. Practice gratitude daily. It shifts the mind from scarcity to abundance. Know that you are not your past mistakes or failures. Each moment offers a fresh start. Act with integrity even when no one is watching. Your character is your true wealth. Cultivate joy in simple pleasures. A meal shared, a kind word, a moment of quiet. When overwhelmed by complexity, return to basics. Breath, presence, and intention. Trust in your ability to endure. Strength grows through facing difficulties with courage. Release the need for external validation. Your worth is inherent and independent. Reflect often on the impermanence of life. This awareness inspires urgency and appreciation. Approach life with equanimity, neither elated by success nor crushed by failure. Accept that you will never control everything. Peace lies in mastering what you can. Practice kindness relentlessly. It transforms both giver and receiver. Maintain curiosity and wonder. These keep the mind vibrant and open. In every challenge, seek the lesson, the opportunity to grow. Find contentment in the here and now. The future is shaped by the present moment. Your mind is the forge of your experience. Shape it with care and wisdom. In all things, choose virtue. It is the only true good and the path to tranquility. This journey is continuous, and every day offers new chances to practice and embody these truths. Let this be your quiet guide, your companion in the unfolding moments of your life.